let's queer up the USA view. LGBTQ plus activists speak out against New York City drag march chant. Revelers at New York City's Pride Parade on Sunday sounded off on a controversial chant by LGBTQ plus activists, with some saying that the shouts of, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children," could spark more anti-gay hate. The chant, yelled Friday at the annual drag march in the East Village, was seen as a misguided joke by some parade attendees who wondered whether it hurt the cause more than it helped. Angela Ghiozzo, a mom from Cold Spring, New York, went to the parade with her son, Matthew Pocarillo, who came out 12 years ago. She and many like her said it was not the right time or group to joke, but others were more cavalier and dismissed the chant as a harmless jab at anti-gay activists who falsely accuse those in the LGBTQ plus community of being pedophiles and child groomers. Still, neither the controversy nor the humid, rainy weather could put a damper on the New York City Pride March's spectacle. Nearly 2 million rainbow-bedecked revelers of all ages flooded Manhattan streets, cheering as the 1,000-strong procession of folks and floats marched by in the largest celebration of its kind in North America. Local politicians such as Senator Chuck Schumer, Governor Kathy Hochul, and Mayor Eric Adams also participated in the march. I just love the New York City Pride March. Always have, always will. And say what you want, I don't care. And you know what? They hate us anyway. So let's just say what we want to say.
I mean, it's absolutely hilarious of a chant. You know, we are taking a jab at, being the groomers, being the pedophiles. Like, we're coming for your children, like we're just a witch in the woods with a candy house. But what scares me are those podcasters, those, TV evangelists, those, small other corporations that will take that snippet and just be like, see, they're acknowledging it. They're admitting to it. They want your kids sign up for my $5,000 page and, buy into a ticket so that whoever we're Republicans signing up for are going to be hired next.
Yeah, I mean, listen. The reality is that no one who's actually coming for your children is going to make it a chant in a parade, right? But the fact of the matter is that if we vocalize these things, of course, right wingers are gonna take it and have a field day with it. I mean, the first place that I saw this personally was the Miami-Dade chapter of the now known hate group Moms for Liberty on my Oppo account, where I follow all the alt-right hate groups to make sure I know what they're doing. And you're never gonna figure out what the account is. But saying like, oh well, now they're saying the quiet part out loud. it's ridiculous, right, when you see it. But the fact of the matter is that we're just given them more material to work with, which does sound a little counterproductive, despite the fun of it all. And so I think that it is misguided.
I have a little different opinion.
Oh.
I do think that, yes, I agree. It's funny. I'm probably one of the most sarcastic people that you'll also meet as well. So I get the sarcasm. I get all of that. But we're at a time in a history where I think we have to be smarter, faster, more strategic. And those people in the parade in New York are at a place of privilege. They were allowed to have a pride parade. They're protected in New York. They have a very welcoming government. They have a very welcoming city. While across the country, pride events are being canceled. So speaking out of privilege, it's great to be able to say whatever you want to say. New York City Pride, just like all of our prides here in South Florida, are supported by donations, by sponsorship. And clips like that are a way to them, for, like you said, to take that clip and to run it and say, oh, Verizon was a sponsor of this, and Verizon is for pedophiles. Cancel your Verizon account. This is what they're doing. So, we can think it's funny and sarcastic amongst us here, but the greater world, again, we're in a world of sound bites and snippets and legitimate fake news. This is, imagine repackaging this with just the images and the sound, and then putting it, again, out there to right-wing media.
Exactly. I mean, the internet is not a place for nuanced conversations.
No.
It's the reality of it all. And so despite the fact that, we see this as clearly a joke, clearly something that's in jest, we also have to understand its use for malice,
Yes.
right? And that is so harmful. And I agree that they come from a place of privilege and being able to do that and being able to say that to the behest of queer people in states like Florida, where we are, that are where we're seeing our local Moms for Liberty chapter use this to get more followers on social media and build power in their community and wreak havoc.
Yeah, and looking at those revelers that were there, especially being either gender queer or non-conforming, while again in other states, our trans community is being denied health care and being denied basic civil rights. Again, the privilege of what you could have been chanting is so many other things that actually are happening to our actual community, as opposed to being in a place where we could just focus on sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I think we're
Chant.
we're kind of armchair quarterbacking a little bit, though, too.
True.
I mean, Pride is, I'm an old, let me try not to curse, lady.
What was she going to say?
Start with a D.
So would it be. Anyway, so Pride is how I came up, and it was our place to do what we wanted. But because I am an old biatch, we didn't have all this. We didn't have to think about these things.
It was a
And the
protest.
snippets, and and you're absolutely right. Like I talked to the client who I love, doing on a business level, last week, and he said something. I generally don't talk politics with my clients, especially my old straight guys that I do my commercial warehouse sales with, But it went that way, and he was like, no, these people, I don't want them to do that shit to my kids. I'm like, no, who's doing what to your kids? First of all, do you have kids?
Yeah.
And he didn't. So of
course not.
Right there.
So it'd be hard to do something to the kids you don't have.
Snippets of emails. He was like, I get those emails and I see what those drag queens do when they read to the kids, and
Awful.
It's just
How
so
dare
must
they promote
take-
literacy
Yeah.
and children?
They're trying to keep
it
their
is
heritage.
dangerous. So it's too bad that we have to worry about that at our time of Pride, but apparently we do. You guys are right.
I was in DC 2 weeks ago, and it was after DC Pride, but I guess typically around DC Pride they have a dyke march, which they had after Pride because of something that happened. I don't know. There's some kind of scheduling issue. So I just happened to be walking down the street and was immersed in a dyke march, which was like one of the greatest. And again, talking about messaging, the signs, the chants, there was like tons of people walking around with like QR codes to scan, to donate. I mean, it was very well thought out. It was strategic. The messaging was great. And Again, I know that this was just probably an innocent chant, but it's just a reminder that we are under a microscope, and that was more my point.
Right, of course, of course.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ plus evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ plus community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.